My internet will like manage itself. Hello, everybody on my YouTube page and on my business page. Welcome to this episode of interviews with my Reiki students. So, today we are speaking with Chantel Tauteoli from A Beautiful Surprise, and she is a recently graduated Reiki master teacher of the Embody Reiki program. And I could just not love this woman more. I mean, I think that I'll probably love you more as we like move along down the road. You know how love grows, but like I just love you so much. And I love that you came through this program. It was really dreamy for me to have you come through this program because you were so present. You were like in it to win it. And I say that with like all of the love there because it's not a competition, but you were really just so devoted to the process of becoming a Reiki master teacher. And I just really loved that for all of us because it really helps the program to grow. It helps myself to grow as a teacher. It helped you to grow in your practice, I think, and I hope. And so it was really just such a pleasure to have you. And I would love for you to introduce yourself to everyone who's going to be watching this live or on the replay.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Like Jen said, my name is Chantel, and I, gosh, who am I? I kind of show up in the world, and I'm thinking like as we enter 2022, I really am embodying the teacher, the coach, the practitioner in me, and I'm teaching what I've already done. Right, I'm teaching really compassionate entrepreneurs how to raise the vibration of the planet. That's my thing, right? And I think like exactly what you just said, Jen, and I'm going to echo everything back to you. I absolutely love and adore you, and I try to show up to the programs, to the courses, to everything else that I sign up for as how I want my students, my clients to show up and be 100% present.
Yes.
And, like I think we can all get kind of used to the like, I'm listening, especially in the Zoom world, right? And you've got your phone over here and you've got like, whatever else going on out there. But to really step into something and finish it out the way that I enter it with like such enthusiasm. And again, maybe this is like me again thinking of like as we go into 2022, do I want to finish out 2021 the way that I started it? And that's really I think that's like kind of like summarize what you just said, right? Like I was so devoted, and I still am, into what it is that you teach and what it is that you can bring to the method. And I don't know, like if you even want to go down that road as to like when I asked you about, it's just coming up for me, the first attunement that I had with you. And then I asked, like, do you remember that conversation? Yeah. I don't know. Maybe you can take
No,
it from
keep going. I'm like, I'm in it. I'm like, yes.
like making my eyes water thinking about it. But yeah, we were talking about just before we went live how I made this decision, and like the way that I make decisions is it's a visceral response for me. I feel it in my body and I listen to that. Sometimes people call it like the gut response or, that intuitive hit sort of thing. And I think that so many of us can get lost up in our heads and thinking and living just from the necks up as to whether like, is this for me? And I always I tell my students, I tell my clients, and for myself as well, pull it down into your heart. Like, how does it feel there? How does it sit? Like even I slowed how I was speaking, right? When I said that.
Yes.
And it was always a yes for me. Like I wanted to do this. Now, super fun fact on the side, I didn't tell you at the time that I had Reiki sessions with other people before. And it was interesting, right? It was like a meditation. I left the session feeling like, okay, like that was nice. But there's just something else in there where, as you spoke about it, as you talked about it, that was like this visceral response, this like, I want to be part of this. I want, like, it just feels like it's part of my future. And that's how I make decisions. And so after the first attunement, I did not know what I was getting myself into. And I still remember that holy, can I don't know.
Go do your, say whatever you need to.
Like, holy shit, really, right? Holy shit moment of, I am forever changed.
Yeah.
This is, I had no idea what I was getting myself into.
Mhm.
But it was that I've taken this step, and this so like it was this coming home to me of understanding that this is why I had that visceral response, even though I've done Reiki with other people before.
Yes.
This was like, it was so different. And then I had asked you privately after we were, off the other, I think there was a few people still on. And this was like a while, like maybe a few days after, I don't even know. Time
It was
doesn't
a
exist.
couple days after. Yeah.
Okay, a couple days after. And because I've been basking in it, and I had asked you, and mentioned these other sessions that I had had. And you had told me like, it really is the energy. I mean, we're talking about literal, and everything is energy.
That's right.
And so this all comes back to like what we were talking about just before, is that making decisions based on how something
Mhm.
feels versus what do I think like I'm going to check off the boxes and like get out of it.
Yeah.
And then from that first attunement, completely opening me up in a way that felt like this is why. And that like knowing and that trusting and understanding that the way that you bring Reiki to us, the way that you bring Reiki into the world, the way that you just help us to awaken it within us is unlike anything I could have ever anticipated or ever even had like the notion that was possible.
Aw, yes.
Way.
I love it. I love it. That was so beautiful. And it really brings me to my first question for you, which was, why did you choose Reiki? Or as we say in Reiki, Reiki chose you, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's so cliche almost to say, right? But
It
like that
is.
really is what you're talking about. It was this thought of, I saw you on a live and you had taken everyone through a meditation. And I still remember where I was at in my house. I was sitting at my kitchen table. My kids were at school. My husband was at work. And something just told me, go sit down on the living room floor, like ground yourself even more. And in that, you infused Reiki in the meditation. And I remember that meditation feeling very different.
Mhm.
And there was just something in that then I think that it's so true. Reiki chose me. Like it was ready for it to be awakened in me.
Mhm.
Which is part of like what I teach in all my other teachings, right? We already possess everything that we need to create, right? Let
Yes.
alone like heal. We can continue to heal stuff, but to like bring that healing into creation. And
Yes.
so that's really why I signed up also, is I felt like, it is part of what I'm wanting to create, who I'm wanting to be in the world.
Yes. I love that. I love that you talked about healing into creation, because I learned Reiki in 2004. I started my journey in 2004. And back then I just was doing massage therapy. I was a doula, and I was really at the very beginning of my awakening. And my awakening was slow. And I think in the early 2000s, late 1990s, we were in a different time frame, and we were slower. Things were slower. What I've noticed, especially for teaching, now for almost 20, 17 years, is that my people, they are awakening so much more quickly. And many of them are already awake before they come into Reiki, or they're like really on the path to that awakening. And so they're quite aware of where they're at. And so it seems like you're able to move through the levels much more quickly. So, we talk about in Reiki 1, you're awakening to yourself, you're awakening to the quantum. And then when we move into Reiki 2, we're awakening to this idea that we're all energy, and that, that we can actually, that time and space doesn't care about anything except for time and space. Like it's just a human creation, right? And so that was really hard for me to conceptualize in 2004. I didn't really understand that. And so it took me some time to really understand and to become more masterful. And so I think that the way that we do this program is that it is much more quick, and that people who are coming in are much more awake already. So that kind of leads me to another question for you is, how did Reiki assist in that awakening, and how do you feel like the layers started peeling apart? Like what kind of symptomology showed up for you?
Yeah. Question. I feel like it was, it feel like it was just awakened in me. It was something like a remembrance of this even more empowerment that was within me, that I then, that I know so many people that come through your programs also, they're wanting to be the impact in the world. They're wanting to help others. And it just comes back to the whole, like, fill your cup up first, right? So feeling the energy within you, feeling this self-empowerment first. And then because of that, because you're so lit up, because you're so energized, like pun intended, you're able to create the ripple effects that you really desire in the world. And it's super fun for me also. And my girls, my middle one is 10 and my youngest is 7. And so like they're a year younger when I started this, and they'll walk around chocolate, they'll do it to their menu. They'll do it when, an ambulance is driving by, and they'll bless and they'll help. And so it's just like, to be part of that, like you said, we didn't really have this, and like we had it, but we're moving into like really quick, fast-paced energy, and really learning to embrace that also, right? So like the kids that are now part of that really quick, fast-paced, and where I feel like there's so many of us that, or maybe of them, I should say, that are part of this, like wanting to slow down the instant gratification. But I feel like that's part of where we're moving. Like you said, the awakened, the woke also understand that we can have the things like through the quantum, it's already here. We don't need to wait, right? There's no time like between it.
Yes. And I just realized that I had said healing into creation, and you had just been talking about that. And then I like kind of went off on a tangent, but healing into creation is so important. And I think that it used to be when I started Reiki, it was just about the healing. It was about the healing of myself. And then it was about me facilitating healing in others. And I always recognized that, that it was me facilitating a healing in someone else. I always knew that part. But what I really started to come to as I moved through my Reiki practice was that we are creators, and that we are the creators of our lives. And so in learning, the chakra work and learning all of that through Reiki, which is really where I learned all of my information that I learned about the chakra system, it really helped me to understand early on that I was a creator, and that, yes, I'm here to heal, but really we are the creators of our existence. And it has been really profoundly amplified for me since working with Joy over the past 5-6 years, Joy Kingsborough, who is a mentor to both myself and Chantel, and a dear friend. And I love how she really has hit it home that we are the creators of our lives. And I think that that is really such a profound part of Reiki, actually, is that we are here to create. Yes, we're here to heal. And then what's next? What's next is creating. We're here to create all of the money flow that we desire, all of the abundance that we desire, because it's already here, right? And you're just tapping in. And that's one of the things that I love about Reiki, is that for me, I'm always just tapped in. I'm always turned on, tapped in. I'm always there. And I feel like that is part of the mastery of Reiki, and the mastery of being in the energy and really understanding energy and really being in it for a long period of time. That's where that mastery starts to show up. So I'm curious if that brought anything up for you, or if you want me to move on to my next question.
Yeah, no, I think you hit it spot on. What I was looking at, I don't know if it looks the same in your screen, like it's always the opposite.
Oh, I know.
Like I love how like the doc here that I have leads into Jen Kohler.
It totally does.
So yeah, I think that like I had this vision of this like full circle moment of like there's healing that happens along the way, but when we're just going for creation. So it's like giving ourselves the permission to stop looking for stuff to heal, because there are lifetimes worth of karma to heal, to to clear, right? That's really what we're talking about. And but we're deserving and we're worthy of it just because we are, just because we're humans in these bodies on this earth right now.
Mm-hmm.
And when we lean into the creation, the healing naturally happens.
Agreed. Yeah. Yes. Because you're amplifying that. It's when you start to really, when we go deep, when we really start to talk about vibration and frequency, and maybe those are like things that not everyone gets, but it is the language that we start to use with energy work. And there is a lot of scientific background behind vibration and frequency, and you can actually measure your vibration and frequency. And one of the things I love to teach is that when you're starting a session with a client, you can actually measure their vibration, and then at the end you can like watch it and have like see it rise, and it's so amazing to watch that. And so literally we are literally raising the vibration of the planet by raising our own vibration and by creating that which we desire to see in the world.
I got truth bumps. It's so like the ripple effects, right? That's what I meant by it. Who am I? Like, how do I summarize myself?
Who am I?
Right. Who am I?
So I love that you talked about your kids and Reiki, because one of the most important things in my world is, of course, I have an 8-year-old. So of course, having this child in my life has been very important. And I have nieces and nephews, and I also just believe in our children. I mean, I love this young generation. They have so much to teach us. And so I love that our kids are learning Reiki. Hi, Rosalie. I see you. And thank you so much. And I can't wait for you to learn Reiki with me. It's gonna be amazing. Is that it really, really lines up for me with conscious parenting, being a conscious human, being a conscious Reiki awake human allows me to be a conscious parent, because really I am always conscious parenting because I am a conscious person. And Reiki has helped my child so intensely. And he was actually in utero when I became a Reiki master teacher. And I believe that he was born with Reiki, as I believe we all are, but his was quite activated. And I've been doing Reiki with him since he was itty bitty. And he asks me to clear his room. He actually clears his own room, but he likes it when I do it better. But I really think that it made me a very patient parent. And so I'm curious how your girls are shifting this year by having that. And you mentioned like, sending energy to the ambulance or whatever. You saw that shift in them this year?
Yeah, definitely. I think that it gives them a little bit more of their own self-confidence as well, and knowing that and knowing and trusting in themselves. It's one of the things that I talk about with my husband, and like even to bring up culture here a little bit. Like there's certain cultural beliefs, and I wholeheartedly believe that culture is meant to evolve and to grow. And one of the things that I've noticed within my girls in this past year also is their own self-confidence in themselves, and understanding when that, not even understanding that it's because of the energy that they are naturally allowing to flow through them and to them, that it's helping them when situations come up in school and with their friends and stuff like that. Yeah. And I think that like when you mentioned the clearing of the room also, I will offer it to them, but for the most part, they're kind of doing it on their own, and they're doing it in a way that they haven't like really even seen me do necessarily, but they're naturally clearing stuff out, moving it, and they naturally know to move it in the direction, right, that clears stuff. And so yeah, I think that it's like this generation of where it doesn't have to be anything outside of the box. Like this is the norm. We're literally talking about, like you said, it's science. And I rolled my eyes because I always feel like the spirituality, the visceral response, science will prove that down the road, but I'm going to like be part of the leader of the pack. And we're going to just keep like forging forward and let science eventually prove a lot of like what we're already talking about. Exactly. It'll happen. It already, it already has, and it already does. but to really trust ourselves and to let our kids trust themselves. And imagine a generation of people just growing up and trusting themselves versus I feel like I should be doing X, Y, and Z, and
Mhm.
just really allowing themselves to like lead with their heart, right?
Oh yeah. I mean that is like the number one most important thing for me with Wyatt is that he trusts himself, and we talk about it frequently. And I say things like, I trust you. Like I want him to know that I trust him, his decision-making skills, I trust his ability to discern. And not that my parents didn't do that with me, but I mean, I think that there was a lot more of be quiet, know your place, you know,
Right.
kids
Yeah.
kids don't know everything. When I really feel like allowing him to be really discerning about his own truth and his own trust in himself is like everything.
Oh, I love that. As you were saying that, I've had like a lot of my like social media posts that I do, they just live up here for a little
Mhm.
while.
Okay.
And I've like, yeah, and I pull them down into my heart. But it was, the saying that, and my parents never said this. It was just like kind of out there in the
Mhm.
world growing up that the universe doesn't revolve around you, right? The world doesn't revolve
Yes.
around you. But actually, it
It's true
100%
that.
does. Yeah.
Mhm.
And again, we can talk about the science behind it, but just
Mhm.
knowing and trusting that you are literally creating your entire world. You are creating the way that you see the world, the way that the world is responding to you is because of your own vibration. It's the way that
That's
you're
right.
showing up, and everything literally is revolving around you.
Right? And when we talk about like people talk about the 3D and the 4D and the 5D and all of those things. And really what they're talking about is their frequency.
Yep.
We're literally speaking about frequency. Yes, I mean, I absolutely am over here living in 5D, 100%.
Yep.
I know it and I measure it regularly and I can feel it and I can see it. And I feel like there are big, we'll call them quantum leaps. Quantum leaps don't just happen just all of the time. Quantum leaps happen when you do things like have like huge awakenings and you have these big moments like the attunements. You will have a quantum leap in your consciousness. When I
Right.
moved from Colorado to Iowa, I literally could feel my vibration shift and change, and I moved into a different timeline. I could feel that it was happening and my life improved immensely. Not that my life was not great before, but I could feel myself stepping into that new timeline and really living in the 5D, living in the new earth. And it really is that. And it is that simple as literally raising your vibration, and your perception of reality shifts and
Yeah.
changes.
Oh,
And this is what we do, right? And that is why we teach Mastering the Brain Game. So Chantel went through Mastering the Brain Game with me during this program, Embody Reiki, and now she's teaching it, because that is the path, right?
right.
We really are in this path of collaboration, of cooperation, right? Of this is not hidden material. This is material that I am teaching. And I was like, Chantel, you've got to learn this. Like, right. And so you have. And so I think that we really want we want this for everyone. This is not just for the special. This is not for the elite. This is not just for someone, I don't know.
I feel like it's for anyone that's just curious,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, like anyone that feels like, I don't know what it is, but I'm just kind of drawn in and I'm curious about this. And it really is, sometimes it's so, so subtle. Those, like you said, like moving from state to state can feel like a pretty massive shift and a big decision. But if you trace it back, it started with like one small little pivotal thought that then snowballed into the next and into the next. And are the thoughts that you're thinking, are they part of what feels like it's really good? Is it part of what feels like what you want to create, how you want to be in the world? And I think that like so many people can, and especially right now, have these grandiose ideas of what they want for 2022 to be. But it really
Yeah.
can be something so simple, like scale it back and just make a decision like, this feels like signing up for Embody Reiki is part of something that I want to just be in the energy of others that are part of wanting to create what I want to be a part of as well. And those decisions snowball into the next. And then all of a sudden people show up in your life, and, you know, opportunities present themselves all because you made this decision back in December, whatever today is, the 28th, right. To sign up. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. And I always like to say, in order to thrive, you must decide. Yeah. And so in order to really thrive in your life, you have to make some big decisions. You have to make some choices. You might have a little thought, like Chantel just said, and it's like, it becomes this moment of a decisive moment in your life. Yeah. And in 6 months, a year, you are a Reiki master teacher.
Yeah. And like, even take it one step further, right? Can I tell you this like quote that I was listening to? I'm listening to an audiobook right now, The Slight Edge.
Oh, I love Slight Edge.
Yeah, it's so good, right? And so I was listening to it as like I'm getting ready and stuff. And here was the analogy that the author said. There are 5 frogs sitting on a log, and one decides to leap. How many frogs are left on the log? Do you remember this?
No.
The answer is 5. Because the one only decided.
Because he just decided to leave.
He didn't take the action step. So ask yourself, like, if you've decided in your gut that this is for you, what's the next step, right? That's maybe so the next step is like clicking on the link or whatever it might be. I don't even know if you have it right now.
Yeah, we do.
Or I'm having a conversation with you, or just hitting the go button, because we live in these kind of like decisions that live inside of us. And then it shows up as disease. It shows up as it shows up as acne, whatever it might be. And like, it just wants to come out. It just wants you to move it into action. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I forgot about that one. That was so cute.
Yeah.
So good.
I was in my, because in my head I was like, well, there's 4, but I know something else is coming.
Yeah. You're like, but this is a trick.
Right. But I know that's not the answer.
But it's true. It's true, because really you don't have to take action immediately. A decision is just the next step.
Yeah.
A decision is the thing that makes it like, okay, well, I've decided and now I'm going to roll with it. Right. Like I decided that I'm going to become a master numerologist, and I don't know how it's all going to fall into place. I'm open, I'm curious, and I've made a decision.
Yeah.
And you too?
Same. Yeah.
Yes. See?
Yeah.
Just have to make a decision. And so, and then all of the things that are meant to unfold for you, unfold. And it's not that you just sit on your couch and like, let it all happen, but you know when to take action. You get the intuitive hits that tell you when to take the action, and then you do it. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was my decision. I signed up on Christmas Day for the next level, the next step in numerology, because I'm feeling it. And it was, can I share like really, I know we're coming up, I share really quick.
Please do.
It was on Christmas Day, and I had been marinating in the decision, like, I think I'm going to do it. I think I want to do it. It feels like it's part of my future. And, again, it was Christmas and we're spending time with my family. And, we had found out that my husband's aunt had passed away. It was on Christmas. And so there was something in me that just stirred me, where I just thought, I wonder if she, left this earth feeling like she had done everything that she wanted to do. And whether the answer is yes or no, it sparked something in me. Mm-hmm. But I thought, why am I sitting on this decision? I know it's part of my future. I know this is part of what I want to do and be, and like show up for my clients, my students also. And so I just hit the go button. And so like little things like that sometimes I feel like are just like that, like that carnival game that just kind of like pushes one more little thing over the edge. And so because of that, and in her name, I get to like be a part of these other ripple effects out into the world.
I love that.
So, yeah.
Amazing. That's so beautiful. I'm so excited. Yay. I can't wait to talk to you about that. So let's finish up this little conversation. We're almost at 30 minutes. We kept it to 30 minutes because we're awesome. What would you say is your top takeaway from Embody Reiki?
I trust myself more.
Beautiful.
Which, like, if you knew me a year ago, I'm the leaper. I tend to like really trust myself, but I feel like even more so, I know who I am. like I know who I am, like I know who I am, right? Like a little bit more of a head bop. And it feels like, yeah, I honestly, Jen, I actually wrote a post about me becoming a Reiki master. And let me clear that out.
I'm like,
and I did a whole post on it. And then it sat in Facebook and it just spun, the wheel just spun over. And I thought, oh, okay. So this isn't like meant to be said out loud just yet. But what I said in that was, this has been a coming home to me. This is what it feels like. I am just more of me now.
Oh, I love that. Yes. It's beautiful because it is so much more than just Reiki. So those are my parting thoughts, is that Embody Reiki is for the practitioner who is ready to really have that leap in consciousness and really and truly live a conscious Reiki lifestyle. And you'll know if you're hearing this and you're ready and it's calling out to you. Please reach out to me, reach out to Chantel. We'll put Chantel's link in because she is an affiliate. And so if you are interested in joining, click on that link and push the button. Sometimes it's just as easy as having the permission, giving yourself the permission to push the button.
Yeah.
Like it's time.
Yeah. And borrow our permission, right? If you're like, I'm not sure, you can borrow our permission.
Yeah. I love pushing buttons. I mean, I'm like, oh, another investment in me. Yes. Because it's not investing in me. You're not investing in me. You're investing in yourself. Right. And that, I think, was my biggest shift in investing in myself, was that someone wasn't going to fix me. Someone wasn't going to rescue me or save me. I am there to invest in me. And the more money that I invest in me, the greater my practice becomes, the bigger my business becomes, the more money I make. I mean, it's just really, it's true.
Yeah.
Right.
So true. Yeah. Money just wants to be experienced through you, right? So you let it be experienced out into other things that you also believe in.
That's right. I love it. Thank you so much for being with me today. And you know what? Now Chantel and I are going to go off and record another interview, and it's going to be the opposite. And we're going to talk about Pilates, because I love Pilates. So thank you all so much for being here, and we will see you again soon. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to either of us, and we will sort things out with you. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.